Have you ever had a part of your life that just doesn't seem to work? You spend money, you throw time at it, you work harder, you're disciplined, or you just give up and don't even care. Have you ever had a part of your life like that? And you begin to think it's you that's the problem. Au contraire, that's so not true. The problem is you're working against your brain instead of with your brain. Welcome to the program that's going to give you so many discoveries. You'll only wish you'd had them sooner. But the good news is that as you learn to use and work with your brain, you can reduce pain and increase mobility. And when that happens, everything changes. Now, how do I know that? Personal experience. Of course, I've worked with tens of thousands of clients and it works with them. But you know what? It's really exciting when it works for me, because that means I know it can work for you. So maybe 15 years ago, I was walking the beaches in Oregon with friends, and everybody else was running and playing and having fun, and then there was me. Within about 5 or 10 minutes, I felt like I was going to throw up. I was getting dizzy. I felt nauseous. I felt horrible. All I could do was barely get back to the car, and then I was in the bed at the hotel for the whole rest of the afternoon, feeling like a loser, feeling like a failure, feeling like an idiot, like what is wrong with me? And certainly it wasn't fun. Well, fast forward to, maybe 10 years ago. I may not have the exact years, but someone started working with me on how my brain and adrenals were creating that problem. And I took several different steps of learning how to crawl, going through all kinds of things, Feldenkrais, lots of different therapies, so that today, when I go to the beach, like we did in April last year, I was able to walk the beach and have an amazing experience for 4 days. And then the 5th day, it was like, I'm not so sure about it. But because I've learned a secret that I'm going to share with you, I was able to correct that within about 3 minutes, and I didn't lose the rest of the day, went out to dinner and had a great time. So isn't it exciting to know that you don't have to go through the 15 years that I went through to discover how to make those changes? That's what this program is going to give you. It's going to give you the secrets of how your brain works in such simple language that you can understand it. Why? Because this is how children learn. So if they can do it at ages 1, 2, and 3, so can you. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do in this amazing program that you can use with yourself, with your family? This is a discovery time. It's like recess where you can really learn, discover, and have fun. So let's lay some groundwork so that you know the premise of how the brain works. Number 1, this part of your brain called the brainstem, which is a subconscious part of the brain. This part of the brain, the frontal lobe, which is your conscious and your learning part of the brain. We're going to talk about those throughout the sessions. I'll come back and give you more descriptions. But for right now, what I want you to know is this part of the brain, the brainstem, its number 1 job is to keep you safe and alive. Aren't you glad it cares about that? And when you're safe and alive, you can move. And movement is the currency of life. You know, as I'm watching my mother age and she's in an assisted living, it's really hard to watch her be twisted and a walker, and one leg is like 1.5 inches shorter than the other one. And this isn't to criticize her, it's just that that's my genetics. That's where I could be headed. And it's where many of you are headed if you don't know how to create and restore mobility. Now, the good news is that when your brain feels safe and when it knows that it can move easily, you can impact every area of your life, whether it's relationships or finances or weight or creating the desires that you have. Any area can change when this brain, your brainstem, feels safe. The frontal lobe can get activated and you can play, discover, and learn and do all kinds of amazing things. So how are we going to go through this process? Well, first of all, it will be easy because that's now my middle name. If it's too hard, your brain doesn't like it. What you want is easy. So what are we going to easily do? Number 1, We're going to learn about how the brain flows. There is a flow to the brain, and it happens all the time, whether you're aware of it or not. And number 2, we're going to learn how to fuel the brain. Because if the brain is on empty, not much happens. So we want to fuel our brain. And number 3, we want to discover why easy is so important and how you can have recess every single day. And then we're going to learn about your stress bucket. We're going to have a visual so you can see a stress bucket and how your brain is constantly monitoring that stress, and then it does something because of that stress bucket. And then we're going to look at how can you communicate with your brain and know what it's thinking, this part, the brainstem. What's it thinking at any moment in time? And then if it's in an unsafe area, how can you reset it? It was so exciting when I was at the beach back in April, and I had one day where I had a little bit of a stumble. I reset that in a matter of minutes, and it changed the course of my day. That reset is so incredible at changing what's happening in your life. And last but not least, we're going to learn how to reset the fuses in your brainstem called the cranial nerves. And those are simple, easy, but produce profound changes. So you're going to have segments and little steps through this process. It's going to be easy so that we can help you work with your brain so that you can be safe and alive, you can move, and you can create the life that most matters to you.